Hello, my Aloha tribe, and welcome to the Aloha Perspective, where you get a little bit of something and a whole lot of everything. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, and not only is it Tuesday, it is the first day of the 3-day cycle of the new moon. So tomorrow is the new moon in Leo, and so on. Sorry, I got distracted. So I'm looking for today's show, and I admit I just totally got distracted. Ta-da! Seems to be the thing, right? Save. Actually, I think I'll just send this to myself. I'm sorry. That's what you get with a live. My brain is squirreling today. But, yeah. So, anyways, I'm assuming that's you on Muddy, but I'm not sure, so I don't want to jump the gun on there. However, we will be short a sibling today because she did not get any good sleep last night, so she will be non-participatory today. All right. Okay, so saved. We're going to talk about Hamana Kalili today, excuse me. Hamana Kalili today. So, you're probably going like, who's that guy? How do you spell his name? How did you even manage to say it? If you're familiar with this, then you're going to be in for a shock if you had no idea where it came from, because I was like, wait, what? Morning, Muddy. I know, me too. That is just squirrel. I don't know what it is, but today it's like, everything. So anyways, the shaka meaning. It stands for the aloha spirit, friendliness, good vibes, and saying all is good or thanks. Thanks. So a lot of people back in Hawaii, shaka bra. But yeah, I mean, I always thought it was a surf culture thing, to be honest with you, because that's where you see it the most. Most people throw it on the beach. Then all of a sudden, in the last decade, it feels like, and maybe it's been longer, maybe it's been shorter, but it feels like in the last decade, everybody's doing it. And it's okay. It's a global thing. But what it actually means is everything is okay, or thanks. Like, when someone lets you in traffic, or, I mean, I usually just wave, but, cause, this requires me sticking my hand out the window. And in the summer, I'd like to keep my digits all unburned. So if I'm going to get a sunburn, I'm going to earn it. But also I've seen it in baseball. Like, last year, the Padres when they made it onto base, this was the thing. Sometimes when one of our players hits a home run and he's running around the bases, he'll do this to the guys in the bullpen, where the pitchers sit. So yeah, it's become like a global phenomena, and it's great because, I think most people understand that it is probably Hawaiian. Now, there's been a lot of origins and a lot of theories on where it came from. I'm saying it's Hawaiian because that's where I learned it, and that seemed to be only where I saw it until this huge influx of cultural pollinating around the world, where everybody's doing it now. So, and I don't care. You're more than welcome, because even on the internet, it said you are more than welcome to use it. Now, I'm only part Hawaiian. Okay, and I don't claim to be super in tuned. I've always tried to be, but I'll be honest with you. I'm going to put this into the story, because this man's story, it was something that they used to make fun of him, and he turned it into basically, like I said, a global phenomenon, and he had no idea. So, anyways, Before my story, there have been many claims and theories, but when a town erects a statue, this is what I wrote, but I didn't want to forget. There have been many claims and theories, but when a town erects a statue to a man, that's the origin story I'm going with. But to be fair, the late Lippi Espinda came up with the word shaka and helped increase its popularity, and of course spreading further through the surf and skate cultures. It's become a global phenomenon. So one of the reasons that I really, and sometimes I feel guilty using the word aloha in my Aloha Perspective, it actually came from a friend, but for me, aloha means a lot of different things. You know, it can mean a lot of different things in a lot of different contexts. But the the primary thing that it means, it's a greeting. It's a way of life. You know, it's kind of like shaka, or it's kind of like this in, you know, verbal form, in word form, because you are telling, you know, you're welcoming, or you're saying, you know, like mahalo means thank you, but you know, everything I know is very minimal, because when I was a kid growing up in the summers in Hawaii, I had one cousin that picked on me relentlessly. And of course, when one does it, the other ones like to join in. And they were always calling me like a haole, which, you know, a friend brought that up to me now. And I don't really use it anymore because I'm not sure. I mean, for some people, it's a term of affection now, but it really kind of started out derogatory. And I remember how much I hated being called that. And because, you know, I mean, I had about as much Hawaiian as he did, but I didn't grow up there. They made fun of the way I talked. And it was just very hurtful. It was very hurtful. And back then I was way more sensitive. I wish I had the brain now that I had then, because then it'd be like, what is your damage? You know, what's your damage, Heather? But I didn't. And so I don't know why he picked on me relentlessly. And, you know, and I think, you know, like my other cousins would kind of step in from time to time when it became a bit much, like, just leave her alone, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. But because of that, I became known as very sensitive. And I was sensitive. I had a lot going on that people did not know about. And that just piled on. So I've never really felt overly connected to that part of my culture. And I've always tried to be. But I think that's I think that was a mental block in me that just kind of tried to keep me away, because it was associated with so much hurt. But in recent years, I've really been trying to dive back in to, you know, this significant part of my culture. I have about this much Hawaiian in me. I mean, I literally do have lineage and bloodline. One of my Amakua are spiritual ancestors, but he was an actual ancestor. A great uncle, very well known in the Hawaiian community, had a lot, had some things named after him too. So, you know, he was my great grandmother's brother. So, so yeah, there's a lot to be proud of in my family, even despite lineage, you know, even without the lineage, there's so much in that part of me to be, you know, proud of. And it's funny because a lot of people know I really lean into my Irish side, but one of the reasons I love both of them is because they're both, you know, there's something magical about both, right? You have the Celts, you have the Hawaiian kahunas, you had just, you know, and that's something that really means a lot to me. So, so yeah, that's one of the reasons I feel like, I don't know why I feel like I have to explain why this is called the Aloha Perspective, but I don't always talk about Hawaii. Aloha for me is welcoming you into my perspective. So it's kind of like me throwing the verbal this. But without further ado, let's get into the story of Hamana Kalili. I was floored when I saw this, because I was like, how did I not know this my whole life? You know, you're just kind of like, wait, what? So here we go. So anyways, I apologize. I apologize if it sounded like I was complaining. I promise you I was not complaining. I'm just explaining why, because, I mean, here's the thing. This is the part I meant to say, but then I squirreled and my brain went in another direction. I grew up in the Hawaiian culture. Despite living in San Diego, or growing up in San Diego, I grew up around what we call the Huio Hawaii of San Diego, which was a Hawaiian group. So it was like a group of Hawaiians who lived in Hawaii, or who either moved out here from Hawaii. And they just kind of, you know, it was a community. It was a community, plus my own family, you know, having had that culture, have them brought up in that culture, you know, it was always around me. And I just kind of leaned in a different direction because, you know, I was just, I don't know. I guess I let him get into my head. I let him get into my head, and I shouldn't have. And I don't mean to speak ill of family, but yeah, that one I don't care. So, whatever. I have lots of awesome cousins and I love them all. So, but some people you just learn to walk away from because, there's some things that you want to heal, but you just feel like, it hasn't changed. So, I set boundaries. So there you go. I set boundaries. Also, because it is the first day of the 3-day new moon cycle, I'm going to pull a card at the end. Yay! So, all right, here we go. His hand went into the rollers with the sugar cane. Ouch. The Kahuku sugar mill, which I've been to, by the way, it's really awesome. The Kahuku sugar mill took 3 fingers, index, middle, and ring, on the right hand. So this one, sorry. So index, middle, ring. Okay. The Kahuku sugar mill took 3 fingers, index, middle, ring, right hand. What was left of that hand became the most famous gesture in the Pacific. You have made its shape 1,000 times. Almost nobody can say the name of the man it belonged to. Hamana Kalili was born June 18, 1882 in Laie, descended through his mother from a Maui chief. His name told the village who he was, Ha, the breath of life, and Mana, power. He became the man Laie leaned on. Master fisherman, tug-of-war champion, the one who supplied the nets when the whole town pulled the hukilau in. When the community staged its history, he was the one they dressed as King Kamehameha. In 1932, he sent 2 sons, Maiola and Manu, to the Los Angeles Olympics. That's pretty exciting. Both came home with silver medals. He was always like a father to us in the community, Roland Maiola Ahi Logan remembered. Sorry, I thought that name was going to end. Then the mill. His job was feeding cane into the rollers that crushed out the juice. One day the rollers took his hand in with the cane. A fisherman, a net puller, a choir leader, a man whose life ran through his hands. The plantation reassigned him to guard the sugar train that ran between Ka'ava and Sunset Beach. His new job was keeping kids from jumping the cars, so the kids invented a signal to beat him, thumb and pinky out. 3 fingers down, Hamana's hand. It meant the old man isn't looking, all is clear. Some of them threw the sign just to tease him, mocking a kapuna's mangled hand. Kapuna is our elders. Hamana Kalili waved back. See, this is why I love this guy. He's just like, yeah, screw you guys, I want to wave back. Hamana Kalili waved back. He waved it leading the church choir, keeping time with 2 fingers and a scarred palm. He waved it at the hukilau, where from January 1948, his congregation drew more than 1,000 visitors at a time to rebuild the chapel that had burned down in 1940. He waved it so often at so many people that the wave stopped being his. Surfers carried it across the ocean. Years later, a Honolulu TV pitchman made a name for it famous, shaka. The word came after the man. On December 17, 1958, he attended the dedication of the Church College of Hawaii, the school his own town had prayed into existence. He went home, laid down to rest, and died in the night. He was 76 years old. The wave was already everywhere. His name went with him. The sign that means everything is okay from the man who lost the most. Every island kid learns it before they can spell it. Out the car window when somebody lets you cut in, over the head at graduation from an auntie across a parking lot. Then in 1985, Laie pushed back. 550 people signed a petition and Honolulu's mayor put it on the record. The shaka was Hamana's. In 2015, a bronze statue of him, 7.5 feet tall, went up at the Hukilau Marketplace, hand raised, and in June 2024, 66 years after his death, Hawaii wrote his wave into law. The first first official state gesture in the United States. The vote was unanimous. So see, look at that, Hawaii pioneering. First state gesture. All right. The kids teased his hand. He waved back. He has been waving back for 100 years now, from car windows and lifeguard towers and every beach on earth. Next time you throw a shaka, look at your own hand. Thumb out, pinky out, 3 fingers folded down, the way the mill left his. This is Hamana Kalili still telling you everything is okay. Wave back. I love that story. I absolutely love that story. And it's nice to know. It's nice to know now, right? where these things come from. I mean, there's always been a lot of origin stories, even when I Googled it, right? Which is funny because I Googled the shaka thing and I forgot. There's Shaka Zulu, right? The African king or African chief. I apologize. I'm not trying to be offensive and I don't want him to haunt me. But all respect though. But or warrior. I don't know. But it belonged to, it belonged to a man who had lost a lot in a way. I mean, that his hands were his livelihood. And I mean, it didn't stop him because, of course they allowed him to work the trains. And I've actually been on the sugarcane trains. I have a funny story about that. So, yeah, I've actually been on the sugarcane trains, and it's fun because they take you through the fields and they show you all the camps where the people you used to do the sugarcanes were. Back in World War II, when the West Coast wrongly interred all of our Japanese citizens into camps. The Hawaii Japanese were allowed to remain uninterred because they were working the fields. Okay, but my great-grandparents worked the fields. I'm not sure if my grandparents ever worked the fields, but I definitely know my great-grandparents did. So there's a lot of history just in those fields. When we went back to Maui for a cousin's graduation years ago, we went to the Kahuku sugar mill, and it was kind of funny because we found my aunt's husband, my Uncle Terry. It was like, I'm looking at this picture because, I tend to read fast. All right. Thank you, electric company. And I tend to read fast, and I moved forward and my parents were still kind of dragging behind me, and I'm just kind of like this. And I asked my mom, I said, did you know this? And I'm pointing at Uncle Terry, and my mom's all, I did not. His father was the pastor, I believe, at the camp. So, for the church. So it was kind of cool. It's just, there's so much history in just that sugarcane field. And now we know that sugarcane field is where this was born. So now I can say that I have been to the place where this was born. And I've also seen some of those rollers. Those things are scary. I mean, I think I have a picture standing next to one, and I was just kind of like, because they had they had the machines, and then they had the driving machines, and I don't know if those were later, because the sugar mill is no longer functioning. It's a museum now, but yeah, it was pretty wild. But it's kind of, it feels like a privilege now to have stood in the same general area that Hamana, why do I keep calling Hamana Kalili stood and invented this, not because not for any other reason than he just lost these 3 fingers, and that was his wave. It was kind of like, and he didn't stop. A lot of people would hide their deformities, and I don't mean to use that word because it's not one of my favorite words, but a lot of people would hide the disability and, or just be ashamed of it. He's like, fine, you're going to make fun of me. I'm going to wave it back right at you because I'm not going to let you get me down. And that's where we find even more power in his story. Not this, that he invented a sign which has become the country's first official, state sign, but also that he just kept moving on. He kept moving forward. He kept going. He kept doing his thing. Sammy says, how cool is that? It is cool, right? Because, you think about it, and you're like, wow, we now know the origin stories. We know where this came from. And it came from a man who could have completely gone in another direction. I mean, I don't know what his mental health was like after that. I don't. But using it and keep going without, or I don't know, it is the right hand. My brain, I'm looking in the camera, that's why. So yeah, but I mean, it's like, to lose this, and maybe what if it was his dominant hand? I mean, maybe he learned to write, right? People adapt, and his adapting gave us a universal symbol that we all know, and a lot of us use, and a lot of us love, that no longer belongs to just Hawaii, but belongs to the world. And that was Hamana Kalili. Hamana Kalili gave that to the world. And in 1985, they honored him and let the world know, it wasn't this guy, it wasn't that little theory over there, it was this dude, it was this man, it was this kapuna that lost his hand in a work accident and said, I will not be stopped from sharing my joy. I will not be stopped from showing the world that I still belong in it. I will not be stopped from doing the things I love just because I'm missing 3 fingers. I'm going to keep going with all of these. And that's exactly what he did. All is good. Thank you. All in one gesture. Or even hello. Or yeah, way to go. Or just so many different things. We throw it, right? We throw the shaka now when we take pictures, like, yeah, trying to be cute or something. I don't know. But I do it a lot because I have no idea what to do with my hands when I'm in a picture. I always like to stand in the back because I'm just kind of like this hand by the side person. But yeah, it's kind of like, when I'm in the front, it's kind of like, I don't know what else to do. But, so yeah, from now on, you now know that Hamana Kalili is the father of this, the shaka symbol, which again, the name came after him, but he is the symbol of this beautiful sign, this welcoming sign, this thank you, this all is good, all is okay, this, symbol that says don't quit. Ho'omau, right? I got it right on me. Ho'omau. Keep moving forward, perseverance. And that's exactly what he did. He kept moving forward. So remember that. Hamana Kalili, the father of the sign. So let's pull a card. Oops. Wow. They all just kind of melted right out of the box. It had the air conditioning on. It hasn't been that hot. I mean, it's been hot outside, but anyways, let's see what we got here. Ooh. Something wants to come out. I know, I could feel it. Tomorrow, I think we'll do the New Orleans deck if we have time after the show. We're going to talk about another pivotal Hawaiian. There it is. Oh, look at that. I don't know. Maybe Hamana Kalili gave us the card today. Cherish, rediscover the sweetness of life. Right? Rediscover the sweetness of life. I mean, that was the whole hand gesture. Like, I will not let you get me down. So let's see. Oh, that's look at her face. Look at her lips. I love it. She just all, I'm not even sure I've seen this card before. I don't think if it has come up, I don't remember it, but I'm so in love with her lips. Her little lipstick. This is just so cute. I love it. She's just like, yeah, I'm here and I'm here to stay. Let's go out and have a great time. Let's go party. She's gathering all her unicorn friends to go out for a night on the town with that fancy lipstick of hers. So, it is the chicory plant. So, chicory is a curious and handy little plant which offers several different delights. The purple-blue daisy-like flowers produce a beautiful summer bouquet in winter. Oh, and excuse me. Apparently, I forgot how to read. I'm going to start this over. But there's one thing I wanted to point out. Tomorrow's new moon in certain parts of the world also will have a full eclipse. And in other parts of the world, excuse me, a partial eclipse. But tomorrow's new moon is also about new beginnings, transformation, and, just kind of getting on to a new chapter. So discovering the sweetness of life, or rediscover the sweetness of life really feels like it really fits with, the kind of the theme for the next 3 days, because we are entering new chapters for some people that have, maybe they've hit they've hit the end of one chapter, moving into a new chapter, new beginnings, and the eclipse, I'm sure, has its own, I should have brought my Moonology deck, because it had all those things in there, and I absolutely love that deck. But I didn't, so I'm just kind of riffing off the top of my head what I can remember. But it is kind of a new beginning, right? Because I mean, you know, it's like you're moving through these phases. So, you know, let's cherish this time and rediscover the sweetness of life. So again, chicory is a curious and handy little plant which offers several different delights. The purple-blue, daisy-like flowers produce a beautiful summer bouquet. In winter, the leaves turn into the salad vegetable radicchio, which is considered a delicacy. The roots are dried and ground to create a popular coffee-like beverage. Yeah, gosh, what is that? Isn't that where you can find it in like Louisiana? The chicory coffee. Both the salad and root have a pleasing bitter taste and purify the blood. On a metaphysical level, chicory brings us unconditional love, relaxation, and a promise of the sweet life. Oh yeah, see, Muddy says, I don't remember that one either. Oh yes, Muddy says it perfectly. She's the head of the glam squad. She is. She's like the head of the glam squad with those lips. Thank you, Muddy. Very good way to put that. I just can't help it. I'm so in love with her right now. She's so cute. I mean, just look at her. Excuse my nails. I love her. I absolutely love her. I cannot get over her. She's just like Shelly Marie. Just lean into you. And probably because I still don't know how I feel about my hair. I feel like Ronald McDonald attacked me in the night and colored my hair. I really don't know how I feel about it. It's more orange than I thought it would be. And anyways, so she's just saying, rediscover the sweetness of life. It can always be changed. Get over yourself. So anyways, divination. The cherished unicorn brings a timely message. Be grateful for what you already have and cherish the gifts life has given you. This opens doorways to an even more beautiful life. The secret is being thankful. Gratitude, people. Have you ever noticed that when someone is grateful for a gift or a compliment you have given them, you just want to give them more? It is the same with the universe. Gratitude literally changes your aura, your human energy field, and makes it even more beautiful. People love being acknowledged and appreciated. When Cherish appears, make it your mission to give thanks to your friends, family members, community, and to the earth for all the joyful things in your life. Thank your body for your continued good health and its ability to keep you joyfully alive. Appreciate and love your life, even if you don't feel like it, because focusing on being bitter and resentful only darkens your energy. Giving thanks for all the good things in your life and concentrating on them will bring even more good things to you. This powerful process will bring positive changes. Muddy says, doesn't look orange on screen. I like it. Oh, thank you, Muddy. Yeah, I mean, when I'm in the sun, my hair looks orange. I mean, it's supposed to be cherry red. Because the other color I know you guys saw me with last week, it was fading because it was just a temp color on top of blonde, like a caramel blonde. And I really loved that. And I was really kind of trying to go for that. But I guess I knew mixing two colors would probably end in disaster just because it's hard to match that. But, I know. I'll get used to it. I have to live with it for right now. My hormones are raging this week, so I am not allowed to do anything when my hormones are raging, because, you know, if I followed every whim every time my hormones were raging, I'd have no hair left. That's a lot of times that's when I would chop my hair off and have a bob and just be like, you know. So anyways, so again, gratitude, right? She is saying, be grateful. I have these amazing glam lips and I am going to be grateful for them. That's what she said, not me. That's all her. So anyways, the unicorns encourage you to start a gratitude journal. Each night before you go to bed, write down at least 10 things that you've been thankful for in your day. Even if it is simple as a warm, comfortable bed and a full belly. Write a thank you letter to your higher self, detailing everything you are grateful for, and be assured that more of the good stuff is on its way. So there you go. All right. Muddy, thank you for popping on today. Everybody, remember Hamana Kalili. Okay? Because this is a global symbol now. And I think his name should be known far and wide. He should be. He is the father of the sign. I want to say the shaka sign, but that wasn't his word. But he's the father of the I'm okay, or it's all good, or it's the thank you wave, the wave. And And I always wondered where it came from. Even as a kid, it's like, what made people do this? Because this is also why in sign language. So, you know, but we use it now as, but yeah, so, I mean, in sign language, it has two meanings. But I think the father of the sign, when you throw the sign, should be well known, should be known far and wide. He came from Maui. He lost his hands at the sugar mill doing his job, and he did not let it hold him back. And that is something to really hang on to. He made the word ho'omau, perseverance, you know, keep moving forward, more than just a thing. He made it a symbol. And so yeah, I'll see everybody back here 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, Facebook Live. All lives are public under Shelley Marie Lucas. Anybody can watch. I also share them to YouTube and TikTok, and then they kind of move its way across the social media board there. Still haven't done it on Instagram yet, but I'll get there. I'll get there. All right. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Muddy, thanks for hanging in there. Have a great day.